Hello and welcome back, everyone, to Nova Covert Ops on Rocket Rabbit Commentaries. And in this episode, after successfully escaping from whatever facility that was, we are attempting to get some help.
Come in. Any Dominion vessels in range?
From the Terran Dominion, because yes, Nova, being a member of the Ghost Corps, or technically PSYOP. I'm not actually entirely sure what the Ghost organization is under the Terran Dominion.
You guys showed up fast.
I mean, we could call it Covert Ops if you want.
Berea.
A bunch of Marines milling about. Hey, Horner. Nice to see you again.
Thank you for escorting her down to this base. I want to keep things quiet. So it is you.
Admiral Horner.
What's the last thing you remember?
I was in a place, and then I sniped my way out of that place.
I escaped from a base I didn't recognize. Not Dominion. What was that place? Why was I there?
Now, refresh my memory. Kerrigan also was a student of the Ghost Academy, right?
Yes, Kerrigan was in fact a very prolific student of the Ghost Academy, to the point where one of the big reasons why she ends up being turning into the Queen of Blades was because she had such attunement to her psionic abilities.
The defenders of man.
So here we find what is not so covert about Covert Ops is they're drawing attention to how strong the ghosts are in general. They're some of the most powerful units in the game because of their ability to overrun enemy forces who are not able to detect them.
There's that, but to be perfectly honest, Nova doesn't have the psionic abilities. Doesn't have as refined as psionic abilities as Kerrigan had. To the point where a lot of her bonuses come specifically from hyper advanced Dominion tech.
You'll be all the help we need.
But yes, now we must defend this base from a Zerg invasion because, yep, we still have to deal with Zerg somehow, despite the fact that the Great War is over and Zagara is supposedly somewhere else.
Easier said than done, sir. The Zerg are
cool map you got there, bro.
Honestly, I do like this. I do like this style of map. I kind of wish that the other campaigns had this style of briefing, to be perfectly honest. But
do you see those narrow canyons?
Nah. Oh well.
Well, the talking head debriefing screen goes all the way back to Starcraft 1.
Yes, it does.
We'll set up an outpost for you.
It's a nice throwback.
Reapers to cover the cliffs.
But the talking head briefing screen did not have this awesome map on it, so there.
We can all get out of this in one piece.
Understood.
Unfortunately, this mission wants me to use specifically Reapers with the spider mines. Blah.
Spider mines explode.
Spider mines do explode. Want to know what else they are? Useless! I fucking hate spider mines. Now, in the defense of spider mines, they are not actually useless, but motherfuck do I hate them so much. And this mission takes us forever because and the reason why this mission takes us forever is not actually an obvious one, like, oh, it's a time defense mission. Well, yes, it is a time defense mission, but also we are on negative economy for like a majority of the mission. Because the mineral base that the Horner sets us up at only has enough mineral patches for us to have 12 workers on and a single Vespene geyser. So we can't really produce as many units as we really want. Plus, we have a very small space up here in order to work with. We can actually get to 200 supply, but it's not something that we actually want to do, because we can't use a majority of the supply that we get up to.
We have to hold until his forces arrive.
SBC
as
ready.
Annotations Gerded is mentioning there, we have one of our really cool pieces of tech that we get access to for the campaign, Nova's jumpsuit. It is viable for exactly this mission and exactly one part of one other mission. The ability to jump up and down cliffs is so goddamn cool. It is. And they never build any fucking missions around it. This is the only time that they've ever attempted to do it, and they forfeit it fucking immediately. Because there's exactly one instance in this mission where Nova's ability to jump up and down cliffs fucking matters. Exactly one. And it's the second bonus objective to the south down here.
Loud and clear.
For literally everything else, the only reason is that it gives us slightly more mobility on defense than our opponents have on offense. And even then, they end up circumventing that with drop overlords later on. So, no, it does not stay. I love the ability to jump up and down cliffs. It's a really, really good movement deck. And they never build missions around it. Blech. Also, one of the more disastrous things about the Nova Covert Ops campaign that you will definitely feel whilst you're playing is that,
approaching from the north side. Be ready.
Unfortunately for us, Nova's production time on units is about 50% longer, or at least it feels 50% longer than any of our other factions' production time. Specifically, our normal Terrans have got significantly faster production time than Nova does. This is technically because Nova is producing more elite versions of these units, and although I am okay with that as an excuse, it hurts a lot to sit there and attempt to watch your production time be so goddamn slow, especially when it concerns your SCVs. Again, we are on less than. We're on like 60% production strength throughout this entire mission, and we could in theory get more, but that would involve us specifically stealing minerals from Matt, and he won't actually bitch at us for doing that. But it feels very specifically like the mission does not want us to do that.
This is a great opportunity to appreciate what this entire campaign does to differentiate itself among the other campaigns. That lends to the game feel, the pace at which the game demands you construct your resources, like learning about a character and how different this character is from the others. Has skills. A certain set of skills, to quote Liam Neeson from Transformers. Not Transformers, Battleship. Battleship. But we find
it's not Battleship.
we miss the other people, like Jim. Jim had a knack for productivity. He was always on time, with a gung-ho attitude. But Nova just wants that spotlight on her just a little bit longer so you can totally see how invisible she is.
That last? Got it.
So I think we've picked up most of the gas canisters that are flowing around.
This Marauder needs a job badly.
Well, we're putting the Marauder. We're giving the Marauder a job. Specifically, we're going to put him inside this bunker once this bunker is done being built. Because, yes, it all. I don't think it's 50% for buildings. I think it's like 30% longer for buildings. But,
Well, because I imagine Nova is not the only hero character we're going to be using throughout this game. Just the main...
Yes, she is.
Oh, she is. Oh.
Yep, she is the only hero character we get throughout the entire game, but she gets a lot of different forms.
So for all intents and purposes, every unit, every building that we construct, every process that we initiate is an extension of Nova.
Kinda, sorta. I mean, the Marauders that we get very specifically already have access to the concussive shells. So, in a sense, the units that we're building are already the elite versions of them, despite the fact that they have the same base costs.
Nova would be one to start scaring the SVCs. I mean, for goodness sake. You're not even gonna know she's there until she makes her presence known.
This mission very specifically wants you to use Reapers and Spider Mines in order to either close off or heavily damage waves of Zerg coming in. The issue that I have with doing this is that it also means you specifically want to be producing Reapers as your primary offensive units. This does not make sense towards the end of the mission, where your opponents are actually having, a combination of Defilers and even a couple of Ultralisks. So instead, what we're actually doing is we're setting up for the end of the mission by putting these bunkers in place and making Marauders instead. Because Marauders, actually deal damage to armored targets relatively well.
Fire homing grenades. It's go time, baby.
First checkpoint reached.
Alright, let's go get him.
Hey, Nova. Looks like the Zerg are going after our military research center here. Some of my guys are still in there, along with all their tech. Think you can help them out?
Yes, we can, Swan. I do like meeting up with Swan again, because despite the fact that we don't actually do all that much interaction with Swan during Wings of Liberty, at least during our playthrough, Swan is honestly one of the more likable characters for Raiders, to be perfectly honest. Stedman's high intelligence and I do want to actually blame his voice, to be perfectly honest, which is sad, because I actually like the voice actor for Stedman. But yeah, Stedman's voice and personality are a bit grating from time to time. Swan's personality tries to be grating and fails, which is an interesting thing to mention.
It's yours now.
Tosh is always too aloof to actually be a real member of the Raiders. Ariel just doesn't exist after the first half of the campaign. And let's see, who else is the Mercs guy. I forget what the fuck the Mercs guy's name is, because he's that fucking irrelevant. And then you have Matt, who is very important, but he's just all this, stoic Star Captain dude. That's all that Horner does.
Nice to have our cast of funny men back. Yes, I would consider Swan a funny man.
Yes, Swan is an enjoyable presence to have about.
They could have called him Goose. They could have called him Rooster, but they named him Swan.
Ravagers our way. Watch out for their corrosive bile.
Alright, so I'm not entirely sure if we've actually had to deal with Ravagers yet in any of our playthroughs, but as Hull mentions, they have a spell called Corrosive Bile. Thankfully, they will actually, you are actually given, indicators of where Corrosive Bile is going to land. Unfortunately, I wasn't paying attention and I still got hit with it. Dang it. Oh, there's the gas canister that we missed.
Does it deal damage over time?
No. It is. It does a high amount of damage. It does a high amount of damage in an area, in a small area, after a brief casting time.
Okay, we're solid. Now we got to hold on for another 16 minutes and 33 seconds.
It's 13 minutes. We'll get into that in the next part. But
the enemy is heading toward us.
So, yeah, as Annotations Gurdette mentions here, once you have actually built all of the bunkers on each of the lanes and filled them with Marauders, you can mostly just leave. From there, Nova's job becomes to snipe Banelings, because Banelings are honestly one of the only real threats in the mission, aside from the Defilers that show up a tad later.
Gotta give them at least one defense.
Matt's standing forces will actually deal with Ravagers and Zerglings all on his own just fine.
Got him.
Come on, get the gas. There's a gas canister over there. You gotta get more gas.
I'm detecting some overlords on the cliffs ahead. They're bringing in more Zerg. Clear them out if you need to access those areas.
This is actually a small piece that I will get into next time. Be safe, everybody.